to actually introduce the category.
Oh, no, if it helps you go.
We've all been muted, Russell. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, we're all back. So that there was all of the entries entered into the student category. So I'd like to welcome everyone out there in audience land and our panel of judges. We're all a bit excited here and also a little bit nervous because we've never done this before. But let's get into it and let's really enjoy it. I want to congratulate all the students that entered into the category, some absolutely amazing work. And we're looking forward to judging the entries that came through to the finalists. So those entries are the highest scoring entries from each entrant that are coming through into the live judging. I just want to acknowledge all of the honours team who are out there scattered across New Zealand. We couldn't make it all into being together, so it has created challenge. I think these we are in challenging times, and I hope you're all doing well out there, just working our way through what each country is doing around managing COVID. So yeah, so we're as challenged as you guys with what we're doing here. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to do a quick introduction to all the judges. So all the judges are going to do a quick introduction to themselves, and then what we're going to do is go straight into looking at the student category entries that are being judged live. So Russell, would you like to unmute yourself and Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Russell Hamlet from New Zealand, and I'm a master photographer of the NZIPP, and proud to say last year awarded a life membership of the NZIPP. And I'm really excited, as I always am every year, to judge. And this category especially is always an exciting category to judge because it's always open-minded and really quite variable. So I look forward to looking after you all. And like you guys should be out there, be kind to each other, and the judges will try and be kind to each other as well.
Karen.
Did you see me?
Karen. Yeah, I did, Karen.
Hello, I'm Karen Alsop from Melbourne, Australia. Honoured to judge. I'm a AIPP master photographer. I haven't quite got the first rank on NZIPP, but let's see what happens after this round of judging. And I am just so excited to be judging the student category and to be able to see all of these amazing images, and just want to encourage you all that entered. Well done. It's very brave, and hopefully you get a lot out of the judging today.
Thank you, Karen. Robin.
Hey everyone, Robin Campbell. I'm from Melbourne, Australia as well. Master in Australia, Master in New Zealand. I've been doing photography for 22 years. My main passions are corporate and fine art photography. So I'm very excited about the student category for the same reasons as Russell. There's usually lots of extra creativity and ideas and concepts that come through. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And yeah, well done on entering and good luck. Hope you all do really well.
Thank you. Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine Katanek. I'm a Master with Distinction with the NZIPP. This is my 6th year of judging, I think. Yeah, I'm a portrait photographer based here in Wellington and also current president of the NZIPP. That's about it from me. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you. Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy Woods from Wanaka. I'm a master photographer, been with NZIPP for about 8 or so years, and really this is my first time judging and really excited about it, and wish you all well in this show. Thanks.
And Mike.
I'm Mike Langford. I'm a Grand Master of both in New Zealand and Australia. Love judging, love being inspired by student work. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So as you can see, guys, we've got an amazing, incredibly talented and experienced panel judging the student category today. And we really appreciate the guys from overseas. We've got a wonderful range of judges this week from across the ditch, largely. And it's really exciting to be able to do that. And we've only been able to do that because of going virtual, basically. So that's really exciting for us, and we really appreciate the input that they've had. We're going to start off by just doing a little bit of a blurb around who our sponsor is for this category. So the student category is sponsored by Memento Pro, and we absolutely love the guys and gals at Memento Pro. Libby and Jeff have always been such a huge passion for creating beautiful books and albums, specifically for the wedding and portrait photographers, but also anyone that's into self-publishing. They are a huge supporter of the photographic industry as a whole, and we'd love you to check them out if you're creating your next album or book. They even do things like postcards and little gift cards and things like that. If you need to, if you're in New Zealand, head to their dedicated New Zealand website or give Jackie Lentle, who's based in Wellington, a call. She's just such a lovely lady. So we want to really thank Memento for their enormous support of this year's awards. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a run through of the entries that are being judged in the live judging. Wow, awesome. God, this is like the real thing. We were actually live. Okay, so let's get stuck into it. So this student category is open to all full or part-time students enrolled in a recognised tertiary institute in New Zealand, studying photography or a similar creative program. Photographs may be of any subject matter or photographic genre, and I think it's really great to as Russell has already pointed out, this category is really great. It gives students an opportunity to, I guess, experiment and explore the different genres of photography ahead of the direction that they may take in their photographic journey and their photographic careers. So let's start by bringing in the first panel of judges. We're going to bring in onto the panel Catherine, Karen, Mike, Robin, and Russell. So you're going to be up first. And just maybe just put your hand, just a little bit of a hands up or fingers up when you're ready, all prepared. And you might get just you to just turn off your video just in the interim. Perfect. Okay, right, we're going to have our first image, please. More scores to come through, Mike and Russell. Just press your enter key, maybe.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at, just double checking.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. And this image scores 76, which is a bronze award. Well done. Yay, we're allowed to clap. We're allowed to clap. Yeah, that's exciting. Congratulations to that photographer. Who would like to make a comment on there? Yeah, Robin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done to the photographer. The monochrome values in this are just absolutely beautiful. For me, what took it to above professional practice into that bronze scoring range was on the left-hand side, there's this beautiful highlight that's coming down. There's a break in the clouds, and it's just selectively highlighting part of the bottom of the mountain that's given a beautiful depth to the image. It draws you in. It just takes it an extra level above a standard sort of architectural shot. So yeah, well done.
Thank you. And I can see a few judges nodding there in agreement with you. Awesome. Okay, we have the next image, please. You see all the judges turning away because the judges are all just like us here. We've got four screens here that we're working off in our engine room. The judges are a little bit similar. They've got at least 2 screens that they're working off. They've got a score sheet and also a monitor where they can view the images in a high quality version of the image. Yeah. And Mike. Okay, and this image scores 74. So not quite there, but a good result. So can we have a comment from Mike? Have you got a comment on this one?
No, I found it very illustrative. It's taken it sort of outside the normal, making us see something familiar, very unfamiliar. And I found that quite exciting.
Cool. Is there anything you could comment in terms of where the photographer might push it a little bit, maybe to?
Just allowing a little bit more realism into the frame could elevate it photographically.
Wonderful. Catherine, you got a comment?
Yeah,
just one more.
Yeah, just for me, in terms of lifting it, it's a little bit cluttered. I think the main subject is getting slightly lost against the background, but great originality. Well done.
Great comments. Thank you, judges. Okay, we'll move on to the next image, please. Russell, just
Yeah.
waiting on you.
I know you are.
Well, we've got a bit of a diverse range of scores here. So the average, the score has is 82, sitting on at 82. But I think we're going to have a challenge with this one. So who wants to challenge? Okay, so Catherine, you're the highest scoring entry. You happy to challenge?
Yes, I'm happy to challenge this. So I gave this a 94, a gold. For me, this has a really, really strong initial visual impact. And yeah, my initial thought was just wow when it popped up. I'm loving the tone, the colours, the tones, the depth with those two really, really strong figures centrally there, and then the different scale just leading me back in there. I feel like it's beautifully contained with the images around the outside. There's that absolute creepiness of the mono eye of the figure facing me. So he's sort of communicating with me, but in a strange blank face, no features, and then he's turned away from me. So I'm getting sort of, I'm not sure entirely what the story is, but it's all just a bit creepy and I'm finding it quite interesting. And then the little pops of white all throughout with the collar, I find just really set off beautifully against the black, and again added to that tonal range. Some of the figures have shadows and some don't, so the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm just finding it really quite interesting. So yeah, interested to hear the other judges' comments here.
Wonderful. Karen, I'm going to come to you. And
okay. I love the visual impact of this. I think it's actually a challenging one to score because you know, it initially does impact you. You're trying to work out what the story is and what's going on, and then you're sort of looking at, it's very, very illustrative. I guess I was lower down. I was still in a bronze award range, so I was still awarding it, but I guess I'd love to hear a bit more about what it means. I think that would bring me up because there's some shadows in there that they're very illustrative, but they're not necessarily, you know, there's some choices there I think the artist has made, and it's kind of hard from a technical point of view to say, yes, that should be like that or that shouldn't be like that. So I'm just really keen to hear what everyone else is going to say about this one.
Wonderful. Russell?
Sometimes I don't think I think it'd be hard for any of us to sort of figure out what it actually perhaps means. And I scored it in the silver, low silver, but I think I was a bit shy on it, really not knowing what it meant. But it's very, very clever, and we have had a little bit of time to look at it now. And the images on each side framing it, it's quite lovely that on the right, you know, they're looking out or looking in. There's so many little things going on here. And I scored at 80 initially, but don't know if I could go to gold, but I can certainly, I think I lift my score easy into silver distinction. It's very well done.
Thank you, Russell. Robin, are you wanting to comment? Were you wanting to comment?
Yeah, so I'm sitting on 82 as well. I just wanted to point out quickly, when you actually get into the image in detail, there's actually facial detail in a lot of the figures. So the front figures, it's sort of turned into this utopian one eye, but all the individual figures actually have an expression on the faces. I think that adds to the depth of the image, of the journey of this character and how they get to their final destination, and they're an amalgamation of all these different people put together. So yeah, I'm going to go up the silver distinction range as well. Thanks for having an opportunity to chat about it.
Wonderful. Okay, we're going to come back to you, Catherine, as a right reply for this.
Yeah, it sounds like we're all agreed. You know, we don't know what this means, and I think actually to answer your question, Karen, I don't really think we need to, and I think technically we don't need to understand why the photographer has made the choices that they have. There's a great depth, you know, it just keeps rewarding you. The longer you look at it, the more you see, the more your eye travels successfully around. So yeah, great image, well done.
Okay, can I get judges to rescore, please? And you've had some amazing success with that one, and we now have a score of 88, a silver distinction. Well done to the photographer. It's a bit of excitement there. I hope they're celebrating at home now. Okay, we'll move on to the next image. Mike, yep, okay, and we have a score of 73. So just sitting a little bit below bronze award. Can I get someone to, and you're all fairly consistent with your scores, so can I get a comment from, who's happy to comment? Russell.
Each image in itself, they're quite lovely, but the predominance of the darkness for me, second panel to the left, just kind of stole the show a little bit, and having less sort of information in that one, I think it sort of competed too much with all the others.
Good comments, good feedback for the photographer there. Okay, we'll move on to the next image, please. Okay, and we have a score of 73. So again, fairly consistent scores. Everyone happy with that one? Wonderful. Who would like to comment? Karen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a very powerful story in here, and I think that the photographer's done well to create this piece and to tell us exactly what it is through the image. But I feel like the white is very bright, and maybe it's not consistent with the story behind the piece. And I think if the photographer could go a little bit deeper with this and a little bit further, they might be able to bring some more feeling to how we respond to it. So maybe looking at different colour tones and things like that.
Wonderful, thank you. Next image, please. Okay, and again we have a score of 73. Well done. Now, Mike, you haven't had a comment yet from you, so are you happy to make a comment on this entry?
Yeah, I really like the tonal range in here, but I was disappointed with the lack of depth of focus. I feel as if I'm not looking at the part that's the most interesting. So a greater depth of focus would have taken my eye into the background, into that background plant just more, and given me a little bit more to taste. It just feels a bit one-dimensional the way it is, but it's got a huge potential.
Wonderful, thank you. And so again, lots of judges nodding away there in agreement with your comments. Okay, we have the next image, please. I just keep wanting to say next print, but it's not. Okay, and we have a score of 78. Russell, I think you want a challenge. Yep.
Yeah, I scored this 85. I mean, what a fabulous way of representing an idea. You know, hardly ever do we see any more of these sort of atlases, if you like. And so it's lovely that a student has kind of recognised that in our youth we used to have these things. I haven't seen one recently, so that I commend. And just I don't know, it just felt like, I suppose, in our given times now, like the world's falling apart a little bit. The fact that those pieces have been left on the tabletop. I just find it quite an emotional sort of piece, really quite powerful. Why the actual continents or whatever that's represented in, that are in the sphere are left, I'm not sure, but I don't really sort of care, because the tonal range is beautiful. I just think it's been presented to us as a wonderful idea, and in a very well. All the tones are great, the detail's great, and the idea is fantastic. 85 for me.
Thank you. And I'm going to come to Catherine maybe for a comment, please.
She's got that smile.
You always know when the judge is at the other end of the spectrum. We tend to go from the highest, the person that challenges. We then try and get a balanced opinion from those that are scored at the other end of the spectrum. So we're going to Catherine.
Okay, so I wavered a little bit on this. I loved the concept and the initial impact, but then I ended up giving it 73. And I guess what was holding me back a little bit was the, I feel that the processing is a little heavy-handed. I notice the tone and the vignette, and then there's a strange sort of shadow just around the globe, particularly to the right. And that did hold me back. I saw this as somebody has peeled the orange to make the globe. I hadn't sort of spotted, Russell, as you say, the world falling apart kind of idea. So I really appreciate you raising that as the concept as well. That does add another level, and I think, yeah, perhaps I was a little bit mean, and I will be coming up.
Have you got anyone else that's wishing to comment? Karen.
I was a smack on the 78 with my score, and I would love to come higher on this. There's just a few things that pulled me back from it. So the concept is fantastic, the way it's been put together. As Catherine has mentioned, the shadow, it's a very, very crisp edge, and I'd like to see the texture of what I believe it's an orange. Because it's black and white, it's hard to confirm that, but I'd love to see the texture of that on the edge, and also the colour. I think if it was colour, for me, that would bring it up.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm going to come back to you, Russell, for a right of reply.
Sure. To be honest, Karen, I think if it was made in colour, it would completely destroy the image, because it would give us too much to look at that's not necessary to look at. Look, we're so close to silver, and it's I think it's just a wonderful image, actually. I take on board some of the comments you made, Catherine, which pulled me back a little bit too. As for the texture of the orange, Karen, we don't want to look at it as an orange. It's not that. It's an idea. It's a concept. So I think I sort of get that. I was just trying to look at it if it was more organic and we sort of saw the rough edges. But I quite like it. In fact, no, I disagree with you now that I think about it, because when you look at an atlas, in that, you know, as we all know an atlas to be, it doesn't look like an orange. It's got a clean edge. So I think they've done a wonderful job here of using an orange. It's definitely an orange, and presenting it as an atlas alongside other ideas that I think are quite topical. So I haven't got any higher than an 85, but an 85 is a good, strong score, and I think it deserves it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for those comments. Right, I'm going to get you all to rescore, please. And you've succeeded, and you've taken it to 81, silver award. Well done. Congratulations to the photographer. Yay. Fantastic, fantastic result. Okay, after that excitement, we're going to the next image, please. And the image scores 71. And And anyone wanting to, Mike, you're happy to comment on this image?
Unfortunately, I found it very flat, both in its lighting, but also in the angle of the camera to the subject. Everything's just one-dimensional. It'd be much better if it had some sort of roundness to it. Yeah, I just need more photographic from it.
Wonderful. Right, we'll have the next image, please. Well, we actually have an average of, oh, sorry, I shouldn't say an average. We have a score of 88. Okay. We do have quite a diverse range within that. So I think Catherine's indicated she would like to challenge that. So we'll go to Catherine.
So I scored this 94, really strong gold. I'm just so impressed by this shot. I really am. I mean, I can't fault it technically. Amazing initial impact. Beautiful richness in the tonal range. We've got all those leading lines taking you straight to the figure from, you know, the sides. We've got the sort of a surge of the rock formation coming up from the foreground, giving wonderful depth, and again taking you to the figure. The road on the left is adding to it a lot to me, and it's the tonal element of that is really good. It's not competing again with that figure, and when you get to the figure, it's just got this beautiful little gentle curve to it, so there's a bit of dynamism there. Yeah, it's just, I'd love to hear some other people's thoughts, but I think this is a very, very strong image.
Well, Russell, you know I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what I was thinking initially, because the other judges have a different level to me, but I take on board what's said, and my initial sort of concerns have been pointed out to me in a different way, so I'll be lifting my score. Awesome,
thank you. Anyone else want to comment? I think the rest of you are pretty much all around that same area. Mike, yep.
Yeah, I gave this 85. I'm prepared to come higher, but there's a few sort of, I guess, over the top processing of this, and I'm not quite sure what to look at. Is it the Milky Way? Is it the figure on the top of the rock? The road to the left-hand side's taking my eye more than it should. I sort of feel as if they've given us all the information about everything all at once. It's like a bit over the top, and I feel I'd like to be directed what to look at a little bit more. So for me, silver distinction's fine. Gold, I don't see it as original, but I see it as a really good piece of post-production and capture.
Thank you. Catherine, we're coming back to you now. Is a right reply?
Yeah, Russell, I'm glad that you've seen the light, and Mike, since you're nearly there with me, I think that I don't find this over the top. I find it extremely rich, and yes, there's a lot of detail in there, but it's been beautifully handled with detail right through the foreground. All of the elements that you're saying that you're not sure whether where to look, the road, the Milky Way, they all take you back to that central figure. So that is telling you exactly where to look. Yeah, gold for me.
Wonderful. Can I get you all to rescore, please, judges? Wow. You've certainly done some talking there, because we have a score of 91, a gold award. Well done to the photographer. That is really exciting. Our first gold. Yay. Okay, after that, we're going to have our next image, please. I think someone's going to be jumping up and down at home now. Hopefully they're watching. Maybe even they're watching as a school group, who knows. Russell. Yep, cool. Okay, pretty consistent here. We have a score of 70. Okay, so can we have a comment? Your hand up for a comment, Russell?
Oh, okay. This is my hand, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a little bit art for art's sake, if you like, for me. There's so much going on that it doesn't really tell me about anything in it. Simple as that, really.
Wonderful. Robin, you want a quick comment there?
Yeah, I actually want to award the photographer just in terms of the concept. It has a movement and a pinhole feel to it, which I think is quite unique, and I find it quite calming. I've got it right at the top of the professional practice range, and I think it's nicely there. But good on the photographer for trying something a little bit different.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Great feedback for the photographer. Okay, can we have the next image, please? Scores, please, judges. Okay, we have a score of 67. Anyone wishing to comment, or should I just come? Mike, you're happy to comment on this one?
Look, unfortunately, your eye goes to the center frame, which is empty, and I just find that really dominating in the overall graphics of the image. Also, conceptually, the idea of having the same scenes repeated at a different time of the day or year just isn't enough variation. So, yeah, sort of think of your concept a little bit more before you start putting pictures together.
Very, very quick comment, Catherine.
Just also watch your presentation. Things are really not lining up, and the spacing between the images is very inconsistent.
Great feedback. So maybe the photographer could go back and revisit and have another go at how they can rearrange and maybe work on that one. Awesome. Okay, what we might do now is we're going to take a little break. We're going to have a judge swap. So we're going to bring in Andy Woods, and Mike is going to step off. Okay. Okay, right. Are we all settled in? Mike, you can turn your video off if you like, and just do that down the bottom possibly of your screen, bottom left of your screen maybe. Yep, perfect. Awesome. Okay, right. We're going to have the next image, please. So we welcome Andy to the panel. Andy's all the way from Wanaka in the South Island of New Zealand. So Andy, we're on, yep, that's it. Andy, can I just get you to go back up the top and just remove that score from the top, if you wouldn't mind? So right at the top of your on your score sheet, if you can go right up to the top row. So at the top, you've actually entered a score, the same score into another cell. Yep, that's the one. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have a score of 70. Okay, who's happy to comment on this image? Karen.
Okay, So the photographers done a reasonable job at creating this, but the first thing that I see is it's very, very orange, and I'm not sure if that's deliberate because we've got oranges in the bath, but potentially looking at the skin tones there. There's the ISO has been pushed really high on this camera. You can see a lot of grain, so there's a lack of clarity there. I think a narrow aperture's been used as well. So just maybe having a look at that. And one other thing to consider is there's no catch light in the top eye, and it's making it look like it's a little bit dead. So just working on a few little technical things to bring it up a bit higher.
Oh, fantastic feedback for the photographer.
Well?
Yeah, very, very briefly, Russell.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So there's those things, but also what's the eye doing? So the nose shadow and what are those fingertips and things like that, and perhaps the shape of the neck as well. It's looking at your image as to what the eye is going to do all around it.
Good point. Good point. Okay, we have the next image, please. Okay, scores please, judges. Okay, we have a score of 81. Now it's likely we may have a challenge. You've got someone heading towards your way, but it's still a little way away, Catherine. But go for it if you're wanting to challenge.
I would love to challenge. I think we've all seen still lifes before, and we've seen them with challenging things in them. But for me, this is just such a wonderfully rich example of this, with so much textural stuff going on, with the offal at the front and the beautiful light, the sheen on the silkiness to the right there, and then that gorgeous little delicacy of the branch coming across the top, the glass on the left there. There's a wonderful circularity here, so I think the photographer has composed this beautifully to just take the eye around and around the image, and that's then reflected, in that little globe and the round fruit. But then you've got some sharp stuff coming in. I'm just trying to work out what that is on the left there. It looks like some sort of clawy thing coming in there. So I'm finding this a very rewarding image, and there's been so much thought that goes in there, and they've made something really beautiful out of something pretty hideous. So yeah, I was trying to say my score. I gave this 94 gold.
Russell, I am going to come to you, Russell. If you
I think everything Catherine has found attractive, I've sort of found a little bit off-putting, but it's interesting. So you can instantly sort of flip a coin. I think that thing coming in from the left might be a tail, Catherine, just to make it more sort of believable. But I kind of didn't understand really what it's all about, other than a well-caught sort of image of a collection of stuff. But I do like how the light catching on the lemon in the middle does bring you right to the centre of it all. It is beautifully lit, so I have probably been a little bit harsh. So once again, you will probably lift me.
Okay, I'm going to come to Karen. She's wanting to have a little comment here.
Yeah, I really love this in that I think it's very communicative. It just portrays death and decay and brokenness with everything that's in there. I'm going to come up on this because also the treatment of this, it has this sort of metallic feel, the way it's been lit, the way the selection of textures and materials, and the way that your eye is drawn into the middle and on all these different aspects. So I'm going to come higher, and I'm going to encourage other people to come higher too.
Okay, so for the benefit of the audience, Karen scored 83. So is anyone, unless anyone else is, oh, yep, Robin, you're wanting to comment? Go for it.
Yeah, just a really quick comment. I think what held me back from going to the silver distinction range was I would have loved to have seen the concept followed all the way through the material and also the background as well. So everything is dead and dying and moldy. And I think it's actually, when you look closer, it's two little crab claws coming in. And I would have loved to have seen that flown through to the branch that comes across, maybe some angry spikes, and then the background that flows through, something a bit dirty and grubby about that, just to keep the consistency all the way through. But I'll go up in my score. I think it's a really interesting interpretation of a traditional still life.
Wonderful, thank you. And we're going to come back to Catherine.
Yeah, I am
For
actually
a final comment.
Sorry, having a few camera issues, but I am actually here. Yeah, so for me, this isn't just about death, but you've also got the theme of the sustenance from the food that has gone mouldy here. You've got beauty, you've got art. So it's bringing together all these really key parts of humanity. Robin, you were saying you wanted consistency in the darkness, but for me, it doesn't need that because it is balancing the beauty and the death. So we don't need everything to be grim and grotty. It's the beauty of it as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my gold.
Okay, I'm going to get judges to rescore, please. And we have a score of 88, silver distinction, very high silver distinction. So well done to the photographer, and good comments, good conversation there. I think it's always great to hear different perspectives and when we're judging these entries, which is what the judging is all about. And that's why we have a panel of 5 judges, because everyone does come with their own perspective and their own view on what they're seeing. So let's have the next image. And one more score, we've got Catherine. And we have a score of 72. So reasonably all consistent there, guys. Anyone comment? No. Robin, yes please, that'd be lovely.
Yeah, I was certainly in the higher range of the scores with this particular image. I found that the emotive value was really, really strong. You could sort of sense her pain and her angst and the body ripping away. Perhaps to bring it up to a slightly higher scoring range, you would look at improving the lighting quality. So a secondary light coming in over her shoulder would produce a really lovely separation from the background and just give a little more intensity to the image as well. So perhaps in future consider using more lighting sources to create more depth in the image.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Okay, we'll go on to the next image, please. And we have a score of 76. Again, all fairly consistent. Are you happy with that? Wonderful. Thank you very much, judges. That is a bronze award. So congratulations to the photographer. We have a comment from Karen.
Sure. Congratulations to the photographer. I think this is there's a lot of dynamics in this, even though these are little tiny objects that they've photographed. So well done. Love all of the dirt splashing out. Perhaps another way to even enhance it more might be to try some focus stacking so that we can see more what's happening towards the back there, because we lose that back one just because it's dropped out of the focus. But awesome work.
Thank you. Great comments there. Next image, please. And we have a score of 74. Okay, and very consistent judging there, guys. You all sort of pretty much feel the same around that image. So anyone wish to comment on the image? Russell?
Just for me, the in the foreground there, that loss of sort of detail hasn't added anything to the intricacy of the vase, and it just took my eye really, and it's just a little bit heavy-handed for me visually down there.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, next image, please. So just for the audience sake, in terms of how we work challenges and things like that, a judge can challenge an image if they have scored 5 points or more away from the announced score. Alternatively, if they have scored in the gold range, they can challenge at any time. So this is just to give you guys a little bit of an indication of how our challenge system works. Okay, and we have 74. So again, who have we got here? Andy, are you up for a challenge?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I really like this image because there's a lot of mystery about it. I relate to it quite a lot because I've sort of been in a similar environment, and just having that little shadow in the back there drags your eye into you wanting more, to see more. So I think it's quite an exciting image to me. And I just really like the tonal range as well.
Okay, so you scored 86. So I'm going to come to Robin. Are you happy to comment on this, on your
Absolutely.
score?
Yeah, there's a beautiful softness and gentleness in mood to this image. Conceptually, I'm finding it a little too simplistic for me. There's a beautiful iceberg in the foreground, middle, and I too appreciate the little speck in the background leads you throughout the image. It just sits nicely and quietly, but in terms of impact, I just didn't feel that it was really jumping out of the page, so to say. But yeah, top of the professional practice, definitely in terms of the tonal range, and the palette is really lovely and soft and gentle, but I'd need that little bit of extra depth and concept to bring it higher.
Okay. Is anyone else wanting to comment? Otherwise, we'll go back to Andy for his final writer of reply. Take it away, Andy.
Well, I do. It is a very simplistic image, and yeah, but I still think it's got a lot of merit, and technically it's quite well done, and yeah, I visually I think has quite a lot of impact. So I am prepared to move, but I still think it's quite a strong image.
Okay, wonderful. Can I get you all to rescore, please? Actually, Andy, I'm going to get you to hold your score as challenger. You need to hold your score there.
Okay.
So if you can enter the same score again. And it's gone up a little bit. It is now sitting on a bronze at 75. So well done for that conversation. It's always good. These debates can actually often just lift things a little bit. It doesn't have to be a little bit too much to bring an image into an award range. So that's well done to the photographer. Again, hope you are celebrating at home. Bronze award is well worth celebrating. Okay, can we have the next image, please? Okay, and the image scores 74. Catherine's got her hand up. She's going to challenge this.
Yeah, I gave this an 83 for the concept. I mean, I don't know if you guys are getting the same story here, but we've got a very clean image on the left and we're heading into degradation on the right and weeds growing up and paint chipping away. So I'm seeing a man living alone, gets a girlfriend, they have a child, something dreadful's happened to him, number 4, but the child has grown into an adult and is living with mum, potentially not getting on very well, bit of a gap between them, and then mum's gone as well, and we have the son living in his father's original house and maybe not coping so well because things are falling down a bit here. So I mean, yeah, it's quite a lot of story to be telling through shoes, and I think this is what's sitting on a 74. I think we should be rewarding this with an award here. So yeah, interested to hear what other people are saying.
Russell, I'm going to come to you. Yep, you're happy to talk.
Catherine's completely dealt to me again. And I didn't.
You're getting hammered this time.
I don't know how the hell she came up with all of that straight away, but she's probably right as usual. So I've been completely inept on this image and we'll be lifting at least 10 points into the same range.
Wonderful, thank you. How about Robin, are you happy? Yeah, definitely, comment.
Yeah, absolutely. I was only 1 point away from challenging myself and I was sort of like, oh, I really want to challenge. So, Catherine, I'm glad that you have an opportunity to do that. Pretty much similar thoughts in that how they've told an entire story through a set of shoes, which is absolutely extraordinary. But I think what also follows through is the way that they've weathered the background boards. They've weathered the actual, if you look at the concrete, it gets more and more weathered on the sides as well. So it does look like a journey through time. And then also with the foliage in the foreground, you can see that progression. Didn't go into the silver range. I had some concerns over the post-production techniques there that could perhaps be a little sharpened up. But overall, to be able to tell us a story of a lifetime through a few pairs of gumboots is most certainly award-worthy, and I will be going up even more.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to come back to Catherine for right of reply.
Yeah, I haven't really heard anything there that's shaking my belief that this deserves a silver. Really, post-production techniques. I'm not really seeing flaws, to be honest. Yeah. I hadn't spotted the concrete degrading as well. That's quite cool. So you've actually added to it for me, Robin. Thank you. Yeah, well done for the photographer. There's a heck of a lot of storytelling here in shoes. Yeah, well done.
Wonderful. Okay, judges, can I get you to rescore, please? One more score coming in. Yep. Okay, and we have a score of 82. Solid silver. Solid silver. Well done to the photographer. Fantastic outcome there. Good conversation. It's always nice when someone, I guess, identifies something that other people don't see in an image, because again, that's what it's all about. We're all seeing different things. So we have the next image, please. And we have a bronze award at 75. Well done. Who's going to comment on this one? Catherine.
Yeah, well done to this photographer. I had quite a strong emotional reaction to this image. There's just so much joy in it. Beautiful little connection there with the hand on Dad's finger. Just watch the positioning around the frame, just a bit too tight for the kids' feet. If they'd had the whole feet, that would have been great. But yeah, lovely, lovely work.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, we're going to the next image, please. And we have a score of 79. So we do have a challenge from Russell.
I scored this 85. I think it's fantastic, actually, and the sort of the fineness of all the detail everywhere. You just want to dive into each of the layers, like us anchored to the earth, and then us as humanity playing in the sky as well. And the contrails of the aircraft show that we inhabit both parts of our world, actually. And I really enjoy that. I just really love also the little smoke coming out of that building in the middle. There's one little distraction in it down below, but I forgive it that. Would have scored higher if it wasn't for that. The containment of the tallest building within that layer is also wonderfully done. I just think it's a great idea of presenting humanity and how we live in this planet.
Fantastic. And we're going to go to Andy. He's at the other end. So Russell, you scored 85 and
Yeah.
Andy, you're on 73.
Yeah, I have to agree with what Russell said. I mean, it is a very strong image. There's just those little things like that distraction down below. I'm just wondering whether the coloration's quite right, but it certainly portrays a really good message. So I'm really prepared to come up on that one.
Wonderful. Anyone else wanting to comment before Russ? Catherine?
Yeah, just quickly, I scored the 78. I think I'm going to come up to silver as well, because I think that, Russell, it's not just about showing how we inhabit every part of the world, but it's also showing our impact on every part of the world, with that smog and all that. Yeah, so it's actually what we're leaving behind as well.
That's great. Some few nods there. So Russell, your right of reply, please.
Well, without going on too much, I mean, let's bring it into Silver Judges, because I think it's well worthy of that. It's a great observation of us, and it's sort of well captured as well and well presented. So there's three sort of distinct layers there, one of which now I identify even more from Catherine's comments. And having been a flight steward in the past, I appreciate the contrails and how we occupy the sky, although the sky thankfully is a lot cleaner now, but I think it's a solid silver. That'd be great. Cheers.
Thank you. Judges, can I get you to rescore, please?
Well done.
And that was an easy decision. So we are now sitting on 83, silver award, solid silver. Well done to that photographer. Congratulations. Big clap. Okay, can we have the next image, please? How are we all going, judges? We doing all right here?
All good.
And we have a score of 72. Okay, can we have a comment from maybe Andy? What did you see in this image? You scored it a 78. What did you see that was
I just think it's quite well done. I mean, the multiple images, the lighting's kept pretty consistent, and I'm not sure what the message is, but I just think it was pretty well done, actually.
okay? Thank you very much.
I guess one of the is the elbow on the bottoms maybe could have been in the image, but that's the only.
Cool. Karen.
Yeah, I just wanted to encourage the artists to keep exploring this technique. The girl that's on my left is out of focus, so perhaps sort of looking at the focus of everyone, and I think just the dress choice is distracting. So perhaps looking at that as an improvement.
Some good feedback there. Thank you very much. Next image, please. And what have we got here? 1, 2, 3. One more score coming in from Karen. And we have a score of 71. And Russell, have you got a comment for the photographer?
Yeah, I do. I enjoyed it actually. I like the time-lapse feeling of it, or the solidity meeting the water, but I think it's fair where it's ended up as a score actually.
Wonderful. Okay, okay, so we're gonna next image, please. Okay, sorry about that. We have a score of 80 for this image, silver award. Congratulations to the photographer. I'm going to, Karen, can I get you to maybe, so you had the highest score then, you were on 84. Can I get you to comment?
I feel like I should have even gone higher. I actually really love this. The concept of the way that it's built with the plastic items and the plastic destroying the ocean, and just the whole creation of this is very, very unique. And just, yeah, well done on the silver award. Should be proud.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Now, judges, we are going to take a little short break. So what I'm going to get you to do is turn your videos off and your microphones off. Just keep an eye on the chat. You'll probably hear me say it when we're ready back. 5 minutes and come back. So maybe just stretch your legs and we'll come back. And we're going to have a little bit of an announcement or just a promo from our category sponsor, Memento. Okay, so we've just done another slideshow, a lovely video from our sponsor, Memento Pro. And we always value I guess the input and the support we get from our sponsors. So a huge thanks to Libby and her team, both in Australia and New Zealand, for their sponsorship of the student category. So we're now going to go back to, so what we've just seen is we did a run through again of all of the entries in the student category, which is really fantastic. We're now going to go back to the live judging. And we're going to bring in Karen. Karen, would you like a little break? And we're going to bring Mike back. So we'll keep Catherine, Mike, Andy, Russell, and Robin. Okay, and we're all set to go with, are we all there? Mike, you got your video on? Oh. You're hiding from us, Mike.
Okay, just as a comment,
Mm-hmm.
that last image with the whales and the birds.
Hang on, Russell. Can I get you to
what?
Maybe not comment. Can you comment to me privately? Are you?
It's not about the image; it's about the process.
Can you maybe comment?
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Make a note of it, and if you can come back to me later on.
Yep.
Mike Langford, are you? Can I get you to unmute yourself and put on your video? One of my team listening, can they give Mike a call and just see what the story is there? Oh no, here he is. And he's been having a little bit of a lunch break. Probably well deserved too. Okay, right, let's get back into it. So we have, can we have the next image, please? And who have we got still? Okay, so we have a score of 80, which is a silver award. And I think we're going to have another challenge from Catherine.
Okay, I gave this 94, really strong gold. Again, this has this really, really strong visual impact for me, and then quite hard on its heels, an emotional impact. So I'm rewarding that very much. I just graphically, I think it's beautiful. The choice of the tones with the blue popping against the colours there. I'm really loving the contrast between the soft fluffiness of these cotton wool clouds, and then the lack of detail in the figure. You know, I feel to me this is all part of the message here. The fact that he has his back to the bulk of the image makes him feel a little bit lost to me. So I'm getting quite a strong emotional message here. There's a little bit of detail on his back there, but then when you go to the face, there's nothing. He's just blank. So really, yeah, really, really strong graphic, beautifully handled. Yeah, I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks, but I think this is a really strong image.
Mike, we're going to come to you.
Yeah, I gave this 73. I actually felt that my eye kept on going to the obvious parts of the image, like the but just if it was going to have this sort of ethereal effect on my interpretation, I didn't want to see anything real, and I've found them as just being a little bit too obvious. Love the color palette. Love the fact that they are vibrating against each other. Placement of the figure, the conflict being caused by looking at a screen. Not quite sure. Don't really understand the message of the image, but visually, I sort of found it, professional practice, but certainly not gold. Just doesn't communicate to me enough. I guess because I'm not interpreting it enough. So help me.
Robin, are you? Oh, Russell, you're happy to comment? Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate the two things that have been said already. And Catherine, I sort of love how you sort of instantly go with your heart and sort of see these things. And I appreciate that. But I'm going to go into the middle of both of those comments because I'm sort of distracted a little bit by the predominance of the little cotton ball, if we want to call it that, cloud in the lower. If that layer had been carried on straight through without me having to look at that, and I'm not too sure if it's my screen or what. Obviously, this is a little bit different this time around. I don't see that light landing on his head, but the highlight coming from the left landing on his head, but it probably is, I don't know. But it was the distraction of that ball at the bottom. I scored it high bronze, but I'm actually happy to come into silver, but certainly I don't, I need to be talked up further than that because I agree with some of the comments of both of those judges.
Wonderful. Okay, we're going to come back to you, Catherine, for right of reply.
Yeah, so for me, seeing something real in that is what is kind of anchoring it, and I'm just really enjoying the contrast between the reality of the texture in the cotton and then the lack of reality in him. The highlight on his back not being there on the head and face is adding to it for me, because when you're coming right into that head, there's nothing there, there's blankness. The placement of the figure you were talking about, Mike, the conflict caused by that, looking out of the screen, as I mentioned earlier, that's adding to the story for me. It is breaking rules, I get that, but it's all very cohesive. And then the ball at the front, I don't find that distracting at all. That's giving the image depth for me. So yeah, I'd like to congratulate this photographer on what I feel is a really memorable image.
Okay, thank you, judges. And I'm going to get you to rescore, please. Catherine, your score is locked in, and we will, all the other judges have the opportunity to rescore. And we have a score of 86, which is silver distinction. So well done. Great conversation and well worth the effort there. Well done. Okay, and we're going to the next image. And we have a score of 82, silver award. And yeah, well done to the photographer there. I think you're pretty much all very, very consistent with those scores and sort of seeing, I guess, seeing the same, similar sort of thing that each of you saw. Can we have a comment? Mike, you, oh.
Okay,
Robert, yep. Mike, go for it.
85. Love the strength of the monochrome. I think that really adds to the graphics of it, and also the diagonal, the white in the top corner adds strength to it. It's beautifully constructed. Well done.
Awesome. Well done. Thank you very much, judges. Okay, can we have the next image, please? And we have a score of 74. And again, all reasonably consistent. Anyone wishing to comment? Catherine, are you able to comment on that? Are you able to provide some feedback for the photographer on this, since there's no challenge? Oh, Mike's actually happy to provide some feedback there.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a bit more of an oblique light. The body, unfortunately, is really flat and just there's merging happening with tones. So a little bit more of a lower light source would have created more dimension.
Wonderful, thank you. Good feedback to the photographer. Okay, we have the next image, please. Andy, just waiting for your score to come through. And we have a score of 76, a bronze award. Congratulations to the photographer. And again, all very, very consistent. All obviously saw the same sort of quality in the image. And who can we get for a comment on this one, please? Robin.
We gave it a thumbs up.
Robin, you happy to comment?
I gave it a thumbs up, yeah.
You gave it a
beautiful makeup on this particular subject. I think we're looking at getting all the Facebook likes, I think is the concept behind this image. Perhaps consider darkening down the background in future. The white background with the hair that's sort of wet and tangly is quite distracting, whereas her eyes really, really pop, and you want to bring it down to the blue and red contrast. So yeah, darker background and perhaps a little vignetting just to bring it right into the point of the actual focus in the portrait would raise it up. But nice work, particularly on the makeup and the front light.
Well done. Thank you very much for that. And we have the next image, please. And we have a score of 71 for this image. Mike, can I get to come to you for a comment, please?
Yeah, I gave it 78. I sort of felt it was worthy of a bronze. I love the tonal element, the softness of it. Could have been taken further into that soft palette. The eye's just a little bit hard for that sort of really ethereal look. But I love the use of the hands. It's got a beautiful feel to it for me, and yeah, bronze is good for me.
Awesome, thank you. Didn't quite make it, but well done for trying to get it there, Mike. Okay, next image, please. And we have a score of 79, which is a very high bronze award. Russell is going to, actually no, Russell, you can't actually do that. Oh. But Mike can, so we're going to go to Mike.
I need support, Russell, so, you know, hang on.
You've got some support with Russell there, Mike.
All right. It's the concept that's got me up there for a start, because I love original ideas. I love them being executed well, and I think this has done both of those. Flaws, yes, but let's just take conceptually using ideas as the driving force is what has taken this to silver for me.
Awesome. And I'm going to come, okay, we're going to come to Catherine.
Yeah, I do appreciate the originality of the concept here, but I just think the execution is really letting it down for me. Because it's such a simple image, it really needed care and attention paid to that background, which is just full of dust spots and smudges and stuff. And so, you know, it's all about this fish on the plain background, but the background's not plain at all. It's yeah, I mean, it is a cool concept.
Sorry, Catherine, what are you saying in the background?
Hang on, Russell, just
yeah, so I tried moving my screen around just to make sure it wasn't a dirty screen, but there are dust spots and smears just above the fish, and in front of it there are lots of flecks and stuff in the background, and a blob just underneath the handle of the combs. So I didn't quite squeak this into a bronze. I'm happy to hear a bit more and maybe come up into a bronze on the strength of the concept, but I feel that the execution is letting it down.
okay, Russell, you want to comment? You're sitting on 82.
Yeah, and I think it's deserved of a silver. Actually, it is a great concept. It's really, really clever actually, and I really enjoy the black outline to sort of kind of enhance the feeling from the combs. And the monochrome is great. I love the vignetting. I don't see what you're seeing on my screen, Catherine. I guess that's the nature of how we're dealing with all of this. But I think it's a deserved silver for sure.
Fantastic. So I'm going to come back to, where am I going to? Mike for a right of reply.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, Catherine, I see everything you see, and I agree with everything you say. But I still feel that ideas are more important than the details you're talking about. And I think to take it out of the award range for those elements is just being a bit harsh on my palate. I appreciate, as I say, where you're coming from.
Okay, I'm going to get you all to rescore. Mike, you're going to leave your score where it is. It gets locked in as a challenger, but all other judges can rescore. Can I get you to re-enter your same score, Mike, if you can do that?
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I was waiting for that.
And you've been successful. It is a silver award at 82. Well done to the photographer. And great comments. So maybe that photographer might listen to a few of those comments that came through and just make some little subtle changes. Those little subtle changes can make all the difference sometimes. And who knows where it might go if it is entered into another competition anywhere. Okay, so let's have the next image, please. Just while the judges are looking at the image and entering their scores, just want to do another plug for Memento Pro, who's the sponsor of the student category. And again, they have always been amazing in terms of the support they have offered NZIPP and the IRIS Awards. So we want, go and support them. It's really important that all of our sponsors are supported by us. They support us, so it's really, really crucial that we go and support them in return. So get in touch with Jackie from Memento in Wellington and touch base with her, just even to say hi. Just say, just find out what they are able to do for you in your photography. Catherine, just score for you. And we have a silver award at 80. So straight, and that's solid silver by a majority of 3 judges in the silver range. So well done there. Congratulations to the photographer. And next image, please.
Okay, did you want to get some comment on that one?
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Before we go back, can we go back? Thank you, Mike. Comment from Robin.
Yeah, fantastic. This is really, really interesting. It's the explosion of fireworks made out of fruit and chocolate. The smokiness in the background from all the cocoa powder, and then the evolution as each of the explosions goes off. It's very, very creative. So well done to the photographer. And I love on the final one how the little bits are even exploding out of the frames. It's really, really clever. So great concept. To give it a little higher in score, perhaps a little more depth in the lighting. So a little more shape in some of those objects would be great. But well done on the concept.
Awesome, cool, thank you very much. Now we can go to the next image. My apologies to the photographer there.
For some reason, I can't seem to put my score in. I don't know why.
Hang on, Mike, can I get you to, let's go to his. Look, okay, let me just have a quick look. What's going on here?
Can now.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, yep, we have all the scores. Okay, we have a score of 78. Bronze award, solid bronze award. Thank you. Well done, photographer. Now we're going to Mike. Mike, are you happy to comment on this? You saw something really nice in this.
Yeah, I like the idea of having these astro photographs with a destination in mind. I'd like to see a little bit more about where we are, not just what we're looking at. So think in the concept of astros are astros unless you tell us where you are. So just add a little bit more information to transcend us.
Wonderful. So bringing a little bit of I guess a communication, more of a communication in terms of what you're looking at. Okay, can we have the next image, please? Scores, please, judges. Nearly there. And we have a score of 73. Everyone happy with that score? Okay, we are going to have a comment from Andy. Are you able to comment on this? You saw something a little bit special in this?
Yeah, I mean, it's an unusual image. There's a story in it which I haven't worked out, but I think it's got quite a lot of imagination to it, and it's pretty well crafted. There's a few little blemishes, but I think it's quite an interesting image just visually.
Thank you. Right, we're going to go to the next image, please. Oops, what's going on? And we have a score of 69. And can we get a comment from Mike?
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a cyan color cast through this, which is distracting, but also there is no emotion to it. It's just very flat. Needs some action, needs some emotion.
Cool. Maybe the photographer can maybe go and revisit this and try and bring a little bit more energy into in dynamics into the image. Okay, next image, please. Okay, and we have a score of 79. Catherine?
So I gave this 88 silver distinction. You could totally get lost in here. You know, it's just this amazing, slightly creepy, intricate world that's just been beautifully, beautifully lit. There's a lot going on here, but I feel that it still has a point of focus, you know, over on the left there. I feel that's where your main action is. And then you can have a darker area as you come to the right, and then the beautiful light just coming in from the right there to balance. So my eye's just traveling right around here. I'm loving the rich tones. That dark foreground sort of adds a bit of depth that takes you into this. Yeah, I can imagine this really huge on the side of some, you know, internal building or something. It's, yeah, really, really working for me. And obviously, you know, we've got a bit of support, surely. Come on, guys.
Okay, we're going to come back to. I'm going to come to Russell first, but then I can come to you, Robin.
I scored it a 73, but Catherine, I don't, this for the first time, what did you really say? You just commented about the light, really. I mean, what is it? I mean, what are we looking at, and what is it all about? I mean, just because it's got light from the left and the right, but that's, what is it telling us, really? And I don't find it's telling me anything. So that's how I feel about it emotively and technically, really.
Awesome. Robin, you wanting to make a comment on this?
Yeah, so Russell, so it's ink drop photography. I love this. I do a fair bit of it, and it's really extraordinary because every time you get a new and random result. What left me sort of underneath the silver range was I felt it was 2/3 of an image and then 1/3 of an image. If we just crop off that third on the right, you've got a more cohesive feel. I don't know if you guys use the Fibonacci tool when you look at your composition, so it flows around within that. So you know, go to Photoshop, put your cropping tool on, put the Fibonacci rule on so you can see flow within the image. And that's when an image that is so abstract actually becomes a cohesive piece of photographic communication. It doesn't have to necessarily have a concept or say something. It can just rest with you as being an interesting piece that evokes thought, but it needs to have the elements of composition and flow in order for that to work. I'm happy to go up a bit because it's, yeah, it's certainly an intense ink drop session. I'm sure they had a lot of fun making it, but can't quite go as high as you. Sorry, Catherine.
Mike, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, look, I'm in support of it. I was really a bit sad when it didn't get to an 80 because I think it's definitely worth a silver. It's emotive. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's the emotion that's evoked by it that's pressing my button. And I keep feeling visual depth in here. Robin, you're cropping your hard crop on the right. I actually love that space. I love the depth that the blacks are causing in there. And I sort of go wandering into that dark space and, you know, just I feel like I could exist in here. It's wonderful.
Oh, anyone else wanting to comment, or we go back to Catherine for a right of reply?
Thank you, Mike. Very, very well said. I totally agree with space that this crop is working for me. I see where you're coming from, Robin, but for me, that space and the negativity is adding depth. We don't need to know anything about what this is about. It is about the emotion and the visuals. And I think we're all agreed, maybe nobody's coming to silver distinction with me, but I think it's sounding like we're a solid silver here. Thank you.
Awesome. Judges, I'm going to get you to rescore. Catherine, if you can just re-enter the same score, and all the judges have the opportunity to change their score. Well done, and we've got 84, solid silver award. Well done, congratulations, and great comments and conversation there. Okay, we're going to have another little break. We're going to have another judge swap. I'm going to bring, I'm going to swap, we're going to have a little break first off, and then I'm going to bring Karen back on, and Robin, I'll get you to have a little break. So let's do a little promo for our sponsor, Memento.
How long is the break, okay?
Literally just a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can hear us. Okay, judges. Yeah. Okay, so we've got, hang on. Hang on, sorry guys, just give me 2 seconds. Okay, right, we're back into it. So on the panel we have Robin, we've got Karen Alsop back. We have Andy Woods, Russell Hamlet, Catherine Katanak, and Mike Langford. Hang on, just dealing with the technical issue, just one moment. given our judges a little bit of a break. They do need to stretch their legs. It's always challenging sitting in front of a screen constantly, and the level of concentration that's needed when you're judging is actually quite phenomenal. So, you know, the judges give their all when they're scoring, or when they're I guess critiquing and analysing the entries. So I won't distract them anymore. And we have one more score to come in. And we have a score of 78, a solid bronze award. Well done. And are we going to get a challenge? We are going to get a challenge from Catherine. You're doing well, Catherine.
Yeah, so I gave this an 84, a silver. I think it has a really strong initial impact with the just completely surreal nature of it. I don't quite know what's going on here, but it makes me want to know what's going on here. So I just want to talk a little bit more about the story here. I think the photographer has done a great job of putting this together. They've thought a lot about lots of little details, like the little bit of a shadow there from the cigarette, and just reflecting that warm light on the side of the building onto the face to sort of place him more consistently in that space. And even on the left-hand side there, that harsh shadow that is actually coming across into his ear as well. I'm quite intrigued by it. I'm not sure what the relevance of the pizza is. I feel like in a constructed image like this, everything has probably got a conceptual symbolic message, and I'm not getting the message from the pizza, but I think we should talk about the message from the pizza. Maybe someone else is. And I think just in the terms of the tones and the colours here, this is all quite cohesive. You know, I often sort of ask myself, is this an image that I'm going to remember? And I think I will remember this one. So I'm on a silver, and I'd really love to talk a bit more about this one.
You're not alone there, Catherine. You do have support close by, but I'm going to go to Russell for comment first off.
I scored it in the middle of professional standard. I can't, still after that discussion, I'll need more, and I'm happy to be changed. I can't bring those elements together to understand it is surreal, and that's not enough in itself. I mean, the plaster, the cigarette, there's no sort of smoke coming off the cigarette. It's all sort of been compiled in a way that I don't know if it sort of joins together for me in a sort of a cohesiveness that adds to a story for me, or wondering, I'm just sort of wondering what I'm looking at, I suppose. And so if anyone can help me with that, great.
Okay, and I'm going to come to Mike. Have you got anything you want to add in this? You're sort of sitting around that middle range as well. Are you?
It's interesting. Okay, I'll give my thoughts, because that's what I'm here for. It's interesting that the lighting, the subtleties of the little things, like the light on the right-hand side being put onto the face, I find those things really intriguing, given that the main lighting is nothing like the lighting on what's around it. So I'm finding a little bit of a difference in the lighting sources. They've made some things really beautiful and other things not at all. So in some points it works wonderfully, and other points I'm confused that they haven't done it further.
Okay, Karen, have you were actually up there with Catherine. Have you got anything to add?
I was, and I see, look, I'm up there because I think that it has so much impact. Now, I do see the technical issues, and I am struggling with those. So even the depth of field on the face, he drops out around his ears, and, you know, the depth of field of the buildings, there's a lot of focus from front to back. So those things I struggle with, but even though I do struggle with those, I just think there is so much impact. There is so much, you know, you look at it and I still don't know what it means, but I really, really think this is one of those ones that you will remember. So for that in itself, I've scored it at 83, and I might come up a little bit more.
Okay, Catherine, take it home.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so I think, you know, when we're looking at a silver, we're looking for a high level of imagination and creativity, which we really have here. We've got a very high, I think, level of craft skill and technique. This is a really creative, very, very curious image that does provoke thought, and I think that's really worth celebrating. Technically, you know, maybe the depth of field, I hadn't noticed that, but you know, we're not talking gold, we're not talking silver distinction, we're just talking a good silver here, and I think this photographer deserves to be rewarded.
Wonderful, thank you. Can I get you all to rescore? Catherine, you just enter the same score if you wouldn't mind, and the rest of you can change your score. And we have a silver award. Well done, guys. And at 81, fantastic conversation there. And I think that entrant got some really valuable feedback from all that. Okay, we're going to have the next image, please. And we have a silver award at 81. Congratulations. Everyone happy with that? Awesome. Can I get a comment from Catherine? I'm going to come to you again. Hope you don't mind me picking on you a little bit.
Not at all. Yeah, there's just a beautiful delicacy about this image, and the simplicity. I feel like it's been really well handled with the gradation and tone from the cooler tones at the bottom coming through to the warmth in the sky. And then just that bit of asymmetry provided by the tree, just to throw everything off kilter a little bit. For me, I see, you know, even though it's made a cube, I see this as a floating world with the vegetation growing on it. So yeah, it's just really simple, well done. Yeah, congratulations. Nice detail in the earth is there as well.
Wonderful, thank you very much, judges. Can we have the next image, please? And very consistent scores there. Oops, one's just popped off. Russell, you were, yep, that's it. Okay, we have a score of 74, which is just outside of the award range, but still a really good score. So we're going to come, Russell, can I get a comment from you? You scored it in the bronze range.
Well, it was funny because I actually scored at 74 initially, and then I jumped it into bronze because a 74 is the highest of professional standard, and just into bronze is just a little bit higher than that. And obviously a wonderful connection and emotion. The flyaways distracted me, and you know, if I was the shooter and this was a professional product, you'd be seeing that and dealing with that, because the mother would love the connection, but she'd hate you for the flyaways. So I gave it into the bronze for emotion, and yeah, it's a lovely image, and it's there for me.
Wonderful, thank you very. Oh, Karen, you'd want to make a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, yeah, I was just off the bronze. I was on the 74, so as it scored. It does feel like there's been a lot of noise reduction, maybe too much noise reduction added to the file. So perhaps just look at that. And there's a little tiny mozzie or bug floating around the head there that perhaps could be taken out as well.
Awesome, cool, thank you very much. Maybe when they're in their school, maybe they need to learn a little bit more around that, little bit more post-production to actually make, just to polish, that polishing makes all the difference to what can be a professional standard versus what potentially could go into an award range. Okay, so we have the next image, please. Okay, we have a score of 81. However, we're going to have a fight here for who's going to do the challenging. We've got two people challenging, so two people on the same score. So who?
You go, Russell.
Russell or Mike?
I first of all, you know, for those out there, I mean, any image to the viewer has to have impact, and we might be judges and things, but we're just humans too. So we react to impact, and this one had a lot of impact on me. And then further than that, I just love sort of the treatment of it. I mean, it's got a wonderful sort of feel about it. I don't care to understand it or anything, but I do really enjoy the highlight subject. It sort of would have been obvious perhaps to put the tones, you know, arranged logically, but they're not. And I really enjoyed that. And the highlight, the low light in the middle, and then that ethereal sort of feel for the last frame. But all in all, the general presentation of it is really quite wonderful, and a lot of thought's gone into it, and I gave it a silver with distinction.
And so, yeah, so you scored at 87, which is a really, really solid silver distinction. So I'm going to come to Catherine.
Okay, yeah, I'm really pleased that this image is being talked about, and that we're not all in agreement, because I really want to hear more. And yeah, Russell, maybe you can fill me in here. So for me, you know, you were saying the tones, you want to see them arranged logically, and they're not, and for you that's a strong thing. For me, they're just not arranged in a cohesive way. I'm finding the brightness of the face on the left really distracting, and the brightness on that figure also creates quite a truncated arm there, which is a little bit awkward. And then I'm getting distracted by the change in scale. She drops to smaller in that central image. For me, that central image is the strong one. She's kind of sunk down, and she's almost in some greeny kind of murk. I find that one quite intriguing. And then we go off to the right, and she's gone quite blue, and she's repeated through the frame. So very different treatment on them. And for me, they are conflicting a little bit, and I just keep being drawn back to the image on the left, which for me is markedly weaker than the other two. The background is kind of intriguing. It takes me out a little bit. I'm not quite sure what's going on. So I'm not. It does add to the mood. You know, if it had been a bright white background, I think that could have detracted from the impact of this image. But yeah, for me, when you put together a series, they need to be of consistent quality. And for me, that image on the left is stand out weaker. So I gave this a 68. I'm still keen to hear a bit more from some other judges. Maybe Russ, Mike, you can help me out. But
Okay, I'm going to go to Mike.
I find this really cinematic, and I think that's the word that sums it for me. It is overlit on the left, but it's that brightness, that screen brightness that attracts my eye. The dark, moody one in the middle, it's recessive, and it's dark, and it's foreboding, and it's all in a sort of this really rough sea. I just see a cinema here, and it's bigger than any one image. It's got a vibe that really is quite beautiful and original. I think that's the point. I haven't seen something like this before. It's a very brave sort of thing to do, especially as a student, and I think they're onto something that's really quite powerful.
Wonderful. Russell, I'm going to come back to, Karen, you want to say comment? Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, I was down the other end with Catherine, and I'm really intrigued to hear all of the conversation. I think I find that it is cinematic, but it's like there's different scenes, and they're not matching together because the colour conflicts too much between them. I think the strongest image is by far that middle one, and if it was on its own, I potentially would have gone a lot higher. and I am distracted by the words. So the background, you've got the little words underneath as well, and they're pulling my eye away. So I love the idea, but I'm just not sure it's there yet.
And Russell, we're going to come back to you for right of reply.
Okay, you don't need to see order in everything. And I like the fact that there's disorder here. And the image on the left is not overlit, it's just lit hard. It's not blown out or anything like that. It just draws our attention to it, and it starts a story. It's if it was in the middle or even at the end, if it was at the end, I'd be struggling. And I get the truncated arm, Catherine, but I can forgive it that, which is why I've just dropped it to where it is, or not dropped it, I've given it a good solid silver distinction. But the fact that it's the strongest image visually, in the sense that we can see it the most, is on the left, in the beginning of that sort of idea that this author has had, I really enjoy a great deal. Also, the nose is held inside the cheek line, and it's quite tidy in many other respects. So I'm with Mike. I like the comment of cinematic. We read left to right in our culture, and that strong image, I've got no problem with it. It just leads me into all these other things that I get to think a lot about. And the overall presentation makes me think a lot about it, even including your girls' comments. But I can't see, I couldn't ever take myself down there. So for me, emotionally and technically even, I'm happy with my solid silver with distinction.
Wonderful, thank you. Right, can I get you to rescore? Russell, your score is locked. Every other judge can rescore. If you can actually just enter your same score in there too, Russell, if that's worth it. And we have a score of 72. So it's moved it. Oh, sorry, 82. It's moved it just a point, but that point makes a difference when it comes to the finalist selection. So well done to the photographer there, and a silver award. And we'll have the next image, please. We have a score of 77. Oh, we got the, hang on, we got the, is that right? Yeah. And a score of 77. And everyone's, Catherine, you?
Yes, please.
Yep, you're challenging.
I'm challenged, sorry.
Oh, good. Okay, we'll have another challenge.
Another challenge, yeah. So I gave this in 83, a silver. I keep seeing more in it the more I'm looking. So it's quite a simple flipped symmetrical image. But initially I kind of got this horned beast in the center there, and then it turned into this sort of boggle-eyed red fish with brown brown fins and stuff. And I want to reward this photographer for the success of this just sort of graphical, rich toned play. And I can imagine this as some slightly subversive wallpaper. You know, you could really kind of use this. So yeah, interested to hear what other people think. But it's got a depth, and it's got a wonderful mood to it, and quite a lot of intrigue for me.
Thank you. Okay, Andy, I'm going to come to you at the other end. You're on 73. Oh, can you unmute yourself, Andy?
It's a really graphic image, and I just didn't quite understand it, but listening to Catherine, I'm prepared to come up, but yeah, I just couldn't work it out in a visual context, but yeah, it is a well done image, but then I'll be prepared to come up on that one.
Okay, so anyone else got anything they want to add? Mike?
Yeah, I find I'm coming up as well, Catherine. Thank you for your comments. Gothic is the word I've got for it. It's really intriguing because of the darkness of it, and And there's lots of demons in there. I mean, not just the ones you've shown, but other ones as well.
I'll have a whack as well.
Russell.
I scored a 77 high bronze, but oh, Catherine, she's got the power. There's a lot of movement in it, which takes you away from expecting detail. But having said that, there's a lot of detail in the movement, and the symmetry is lovely, and the strength of the colours chosen is lovely as well. And it is quite a powerful image. So I'll slip into the low silvers myself.
Wonderful. And Catherine, back to you.
Fantastic. Mike, I think your Gothic demons are a bit of a step up from a boggle-eyed fish. Thank you for that. Yeah, and something else that we haven't talked about too, just the little sparks of colour, you know, that intense red there and the gold, you know, I think it is a bit of an image that you can get lost in, and it sounds like we're in agreement this deserves a silver, so thanks guys.
Okay, so it's currently sitting on a silver. We've had 2 people score at 87. Oh, sorry, hang on. Sorry, no, I'm on the wrong image here. So it's 77. Wrong image. Just waiting on another couple of scores to come through. And we have reached a silver award at 82. Congratulations to the photographer. Well done. Good conversation, seeing what we can find in these abstract type images. Okay, we're going to have the next image, please. And we have a 72. Russell, you are you just wanting to comment?
Yes, I am. Is that
Okay.
right?
Yes, no problem. Go for it.
Yeah, I scored it quite low professional standard actually. Nicely lit and everything, but the posing's not very good at all, and the fattening of the calf is not flattering. The foreshortening of that forearm disappearing over the shoulder is not helpful. And so I just look at the authors concentrate on the lighting beautifully, but have to look at the subject a little bit harder.
Great feedback there. Okay, what I'm going to do is still going to just do a little judge swap again, and I'm going to get Robin back in, and I'm going to swap. Andy, are you happy to just have a break, and we'll bring Robin back in?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back, Robin.
Nice to be back. You guys are doing great.
Must seem strange sitting there and like almost sort of these black screens with.
It's nice listening as well. There's some great feedback happening. It's really good.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to have the next image, please. This time. Okay, and we have a score of 76. Bronze award. Congratulations to the photographer. And do we have a challenge?
You go, Karen.
No, I'm not challenging. I was just going to comment that if you want to challenge.
Catherine, I think you probably owe it to the image.
I always feel that if I'm in the next range up, I owe it to the photography challenge. Yeah, so I gave this an 84, a silver. Really wonderfully strong graphic impression when it first comes up, and you know it's got a real punch to it. And I think I'm just awarding the simplicity here, and just having a bit of a play with quite different buildings and lots of angles and stuff going on here. And you see you've got the angles in the top left and the bottom right images, and then you've got the more squarish on ones. I mean, the other two, I probably would have even gone higher had all of the images had the same sort of degree of punch and contrast against that wonderful turquoise. You know, the one on the top right there is particularly strong in terms of the strong blacks and whites. The one on the top left, you've got the real strength of the apex there. The bottom two, I think if they'd balanced a little bit more punch to the blacks there, or a bit more contrast, I probably could have even come higher. But I'm really, really happy with this at a silver, and yeah, I'll have to talk about it a little bit more.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm going to come to Mike for comment.
I'm not really trying to be negative with my 67, but I actually felt that the arrangement of the elements just made the center of the image empty feeling. I would have liked to have seen a different arrangement. Totally agree with Catherine regarding a lack of consistency with the elements. I would have liked to have seen more consistency. I don't see it as a complete failure, but at the same time, I don't see it as a success. So graphically, because they're graphic elements, I'd like to see a stronger graphic.
Okay, anyone else wanting to comment? Oh, Robin, yep.
Yeah, there's a real beauty in the simplicity of this image and the basic color palette. You've only really got sort of 3 tones working in there. For me to bring it up to the next scoring range, I would have liked to have seen a similar perspective. So the 2 subjects on the left, it's almost like they're shot very much front on. And then the top right, it's kind of skewed to an angle. If that had been shot with a similar symmetry, it could possibly line up just a little more stronger. So it's a strength of format to the image. But overall, it's beautiful palette. But yeah, work on the strength of the symmetry, and I think you've got a whole nother element.
Fantastic. Karen.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate the photographer on those choices of colour and palette. And I think in this case, it's where a selective colour we normally say don't do it. It just works beautifully on this piece with the blue and then the black and white. So well done on that aspect. It's just, I really, really love that.
Thank you. So we're going to come back to Catherine.
Sounds like I might be have a bit of a hard push here, you know, but I feel really, really happy that this image is getting an award, and I think that it's been a really great discussion, and the photographer will hopefully have a lot to take away from that. You know, you're really on a good path with this kind of work, and I really encourage you to keep working. And yeah, congratulations on your bronze. Well, we assume you've got.
We will wait and see.
Sorry.
Okay, so we do have the opportunity to rescore judges. Catherine, if you can enter the same score, and all the judges can decide on what they wish to enter again. And it has gone up 2 points to 78, so it is a solid bronze award. Congratulations to the photographer. Okay, and next print, please. Okay, and this image scores 77. And I think we're going to have a challenge this time from Mike.
Yeah, I gave this 87. I just found it as a triptych really powerful, very dimensional. I find the detailing of it is exceptional. It's a good vibration on the retina. It's each element's very different and very expressive. I find that really exciting.
And can I come to Catherine for a comment on the other end of the scale, 73?
Yeah, it's certainly very vibrant and it's got a lot of detail, but yeah, I think I'd be a little bit happy to come up into a bronze, but I'd need to hear bit more to go higher than that. For me, the first two images are working really, really well together, and I think it's just that the colour palette there with that little hint of the blue in the image on the left being mirrored, and then I'm finding the yellow quite jarring. The entirety of it is not holding my attention for that long, although I am just looking at the shape of the petals, and I'm thinking that they're not, the one on the left is a flip of the second two, which is a kind of interesting little play, which is adding a wee bit of interest for me there. But yeah, can someone explain the yellow in terms of the cohesiveness, and yeah, if you want to talk a little bit more about it.
Russell.
I'm interested in your comment that the power of it is a triptych, Michael. I mean, my eye just can't settle anywhere, and if it's going to be presented as a triptych, you know, it needs. I find that a tension there that I don't really want. I scored at 74, which is, you know, high professional standard because there's some lovely lighting and there's some lovely detail. But as a collective, I don't find they work. And I'm with Catherine that the yellow as a different colour, and not, you know, there's no sort of comment on the first two by the third one. So yeah, I just struggle with it as a triptych actually.
Okay, right. Karen?
Yeah, I think the issue with the yellow, and probably why we're struggling with it, is because the middle of it's dense and it's not backlit, like this ethereal kind of look that the other two have. So if that had that in, or if it was even a different colour again, it would probably work. There's also some orange tones in the pink one that are jarring me in that particular one. So I love that middle one. That middle one to me is the hero.
Awesome. Come back to you, Mike. Take it away.
Yeah, okay. Look, I think if you leave any one of these elements out, then it becomes less dimensional. The blue one obviously is the biggest recessive one, and it drags your eye into the overall picture. I'm not looking at it as three separate elements. I'm looking at it as one combined element. And when we get to the right, which is the way we were reading, I'm seeing the yellow as being the explosion that brings us forward from the other two. Without the yellow, it just sits there without actually vibrating with us. And it's that visual depth, it's the use of color, it's the use of very similar elements, and just taking that one change is making me feel like I've come to fruition, if you like, with the final element. So, you know, but that's how we read, and that's how I'm reading it. That's all.
Awesome. Okay, Joe, just going to get you to rescore. Mike, if you can just re-enter your same score.
Cool.
It's always nice when judges get out of their sick bed to come and participate and be involved in this. Okay, we have a score of 79. So what this means is we're going to have a review. So the review happens when a score, the final score sits on the border of another award range. So what I want you to do now, judges, is in your review column, is to either enter 79 to keep the entry at bronze, or 80 if you wish to take it into the silver range. Russell, I think you've got yours to put in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take in all the comments.
Trying to find out where it is. Okay, and we have a majority, and it stays at bronze award. So 79, bronze award. Well done to the photographer. And some really great feedback there for them. Okay, we're going to have the next image. Okay, guys, just with this one, you are going to need to score in the, you should be able to follow where the last score was in terms of the row that you're using. So just to go down to the next one and score in that, if you wouldn't mind. So it's row number 47, image number 44. And we have a score of 70. And can I get a comment from Mike? Are you happy to comment on this?
I am. I really like the idea of the multiple exposure. I think the graphics of it are really good, but the positioning of the foreground against the background, there's a bit of visual confusion happening with the head and the hand. If that was in one of the spaces on the building, I think it would have been much stronger.
Awesome, thank you very much for that. And can we have the next image, please? Please. No. Can we have the next? Hang on, guys. Can we have Michael? Michael, can we have the next image, please? I've got a bit of a stuck on the. That's it. Awesome. Thank you. Just so the audience can see what the judges are seeing. Russell and Mike, have you got your scores for us?
Takes us blokes longer to think.
It does, doesn't it? Mike's still waiting for you.
Yeah, I've put it in and I've entered, so.
Sorry guys, it's another screen. I don't know how that's happened.
Oh, okay, I think you might be, are you on row 48? On row 48?
Okay, 48.
No, can I get you to put it in, okay, under the, you're in the wrong block. You need to go back to the initial score.
Gotcha, understand, thanks.
Not a problem. This is all new technology, all new systems we're using, so it's definitely time challenging us all. Okay, we have a score of 80. Well done, a silver award. Congratulations. And 3 judges definitely saw solid silver around there, so that's great. And I'm going to, Robin, would you be happy to comment on the image, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I was very solidly in the silver range for this particular image. I just love the range of textures. There's so many different textures, and you can feel the cracking of the plaster and the cracking of the lines that are coming from the clay, and then emerging from it is this subject, and his nose kind of emerges right on the peak of all those different lines that come in together. It's sort of this play on earth and humanity and rising out from that. And probably one of my favorite bits is this stark line that runs all the way down his shoulder. That's also like a line in the actual crevice of the materials that they've used. So really, really clever amalgamation of 2 different medias to create a whole new story. So well done to the photographer. Really love it. The only thing I would do to bring it up a little bit higher is perhaps a tiny crop off the top. It's a little bit bright and a bit distracting, and then just a general vignette just to bring you into the intensity, which is sort of around his eyes. But yeah, well done, silver award.
Awesome, great comments there, thank you. And we're going to go to the next image, please. Mike, can we get the next image, Michael, can we get the next image showing for the audience? Thank you. So just for the benefit of the audience, the judges are actually viewing the entries on as a PDF to get the best quality possible for viewing. So they're viewing them on calibrated monitors to yeah, see the images at their best. So what you're seeing through the live stream is not exactly what the judges are seeing. And Russell just, yep, okay, we have a score of 79. And we're going to get a challenge from Russell.
No, I mean, so close. You know, comments have been made in the past about seeing things on the wall and art and everything. I mean, this flows beautifully, and I love the left to right feeling. It just this sort of swaying of movement through the image and the layers all the way through it, and there's nothing particularly discernible, which makes the whole thing palatable to consume, I think, as a visual, and the different colours and the layers, and I just think it's a lovely sort of abstract way to present us with nature, and I think it's very beautiful. I'm quite surprised that it hasn't jumped into at least a solid silver distinction straight away.
Okay, so you scored 85. Okay, you have a little bit of support there, but I'm going to go, before I go, I'm going to go to Robin.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a massive fan of the blurry image and what you can see in the interpretations that came out of this. For me, it looks like there's two separate images. So the bottom is completely abstract and foreign and movement, and you could never really guess exactly what was going on there. But then the top half is quite literal. So for me, it clashed. There was this literal, yep, we know what it is. It's a mountain, and so I guess that makes that an ocean. And it put me in a realm where I thought, oh, you know, I would rather see it completely abstract. I found when I removed the top half of the image though, wow, bang. But I definitely see the beauty in there, Russell, without a doubt. A bit more saturation and pop as well would bring it home for me.
Mike, is anyone else wanting to comment? I'll go to Mike maybe, just, he's up there with Russell, towards Russell, where Russell is.
Yeah, happy to talk for it. I actually find it quite moving. Just in terms of, it's a nice piece of seeing. It's well captured. The technique's totally appropriate to the message, and my eye sort of goes to the swirl in the middle. And I think that's the clutch for me, is that piece of sand and water that the eye gravitates to. The sky for me is just part of the scene. It's not positive or negative. I just see it. I actually see this as a true landscape as opposed to an abstract, and so I'm not judging it as something sort of not believable. I find this really believable and just interpretive. So yeah, soft pastel, yeah, flowing.
Wonderful. So anyone else want to comment? We'll go back to Russell for a right of reply.
Thanks for that comment about it being a true landscape, Mike, because it really is. And the comment about the sky being, I mean, you're quite right. If it was split in half, yes, it is very beautiful at the bottom. But in totality, the suggestion subliminally might be that the sky is literal, but it isn't, because it's getting the same treatment as the rest of the image. And the tones of the sky are relevant to that. And the tones at the bottom, which you thought might be a little bit abstract, the tones are still sand and earth, if you like. So I think together it's very, very beautiful. And in fact, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking 85, that's cheating it, really. I'd like to see it go much higher. I mean, I'd like you guys to sort of take in the emotion that Mike's mentioned and look at it as a true landscape with a beautiful sort of angle on it, actually. And I think this has been very, very cleverly done. And I suppose I'm not allowed to lift my score, am I? But, I'd like you all to think, you know, much higher. in terms of scoring and give it what it deserves, because it's very beautiful. I'd suggest that any of us would hang that on the wall and never tire of it. It's very, very beautiful.
Okay, so judges rescore. Let's see what we get. Russell, if you can just enter your same score. And it's done its job. We have a silver award, solid silver award at 83. Congratulations to the photographer. And next image, please.
Sorry, Kay, in the wrong panel.
Okay, and this print image scores 82, silver award. Are we happy with that?
No, I haven't. Oh,
Hang on, before
are we
you,
allowed to talk?
are you okay? I'm going to invite a comment. So if there's no challenge, I will invite a comment on the image.
Well, I scored it 83 to begin with because of its impact and beautiful lighting, etc., etc. But are we allowed to lift our scores, or can it change the score, or do we just?
No, you can't. You're not within the 5 point. You're not 5 points or more away from the out score. So unfortunately, you can't challenge.
Okay. Photographer, I'll let you down.
Mike can challenge.
Oh, okay.
Russell?
And it looks like he's going to.
Challenge.
Go for it, bro.
What would you like to say, Russell?
you say it first, and then I'll go after you.
All right. Okay.
Are you challenging, Mike? Are you?
I am, because I actually think it's worth more than what it's got as well. So that's fine with me. Yeah. Look, I find it really intriguing. I love the angle of view, the graphic nature of it, the emotional nature of it. It's powerful. The hands are reiterating all the elements of the face. Just a very strong, powerful image.
Okay, can I go to, or either or actually? Robin, can I come to you for this?
Yeah, fabulous subject. I think the hairs on the chin are that little bit of texture that you sort of get in a portrait and you just fall in love with. I think I struggled here with, I guess the extra post-production. There's a beautiful, strong portrait in there, and I don't understand why we need all the extra elements and so forth within that. So I would love if there's a reason for the concept of the extra oval. That would be really, really helpful for my interpretation. I find the arms, because they're so bright, they kind of lead you out, and you're constantly being led out to these elbows at the side, as opposed to if it was a darker treatment around the outside, you would be brought back in. But I'm assuming there's a conceptual development around that post-production, but I don't understand what it is. Kudos to the photographer for awesome subject, and love the styling and the symbolism in there as well is fantastic. But yeah, I'd like to hear more. If that's okay.
Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, Robin, I've been trying to figure that out. The round oval of black. I guess it feels like that's that extra halo of darkness and sin that she's feeling, and that's why that's pouring down her face as well, because she's just in repentance. So I feel like there's a reason there for that. I wanted to go higher myself, but there's some post-production work that I'd love to see on this to bring it up higher. Just the crease in the top is distracting. There's little bits of fluff and things like that, and the other part of the material that's folded backwards. There just seems to be some distractions there that could be worked on to bring it up to another level, because it's a very powerful piece. That face and what's going on in the piece is very, very strong in the lighting.
Wonderful. Russell, you want to have a comment?
Yeah, I wouldn't allow the post-production to get in the way of your interpretation at all, actually, because it's an organic sort of reality. I mean, everything about this image is so real. The textures, the lighting has given us the texture of everything. And the oval is there because look at the symmetry that it creates. I mean, the hand and the face, our eyes go from the hands to the face. That's fantastic. But the shape of the oval replicates the rosary beads and the the headdress that she's wearing. All those, her whatever you call that, around her chest. I mean, everything's been presented to us with so much balance and thought. And the fact that her eyes come out of that darkness, but we still see her hair and the greyness of that, and just her agedness and just her pleading. I mean, this is a very, very, very powerful image. And I think the addition of if you took that dark circle away from the shot, yes, it's a great subject, but it wouldn't necessarily be as great an image. And so I think the addition of that oval and what's been allowed to shine through it has been exceptionally well chosen and exceptionally well presented. And the texture of it's just wonderful. The flying out of the elbows and that, we don't see the elbows, so it doesn't matter. We're drawn within that oval, and everything inside that oval is just so powerful and so well presented to us. And 82, I think it's a strong image and should be rewarded as such.
Oh, Catherine, you want to comment?
Yeah, I kind of got a positive and a negative. I don't think that everything in that oval has been that well presented. I love the oval personally, but if you're going to put the oval on there, you've got to really watch your placement. And for me, just down the bottom right there, they've missed a really bright piece of the habit. It's just, that leaps out to me personally. On the more positive side, I really love how the photographer has kind of replaced this woman's dark pupils with the little pinpricks of light, just to create that absolute creepiness and the pinched mouth. Fantastic. But yeah, I'm a bit torn. I do think it's a very, very powerful image. I'm not quite sure I can go to silver distinction though, just the placement of the oval, because that was completely the photographer's decision, and they haven't really run their eye right around it and presented it quite as well as I think you're saying there, Russell.
Okay, we are going to go back to Mike for a right of reply.
Yeah, look, that was a great discussion, because you pointed out flaws that I hadn't noticed before, and I see them now, and they're still just flaws that I'm looking at, because let's face it, this isn't gold, and also this isn't a low silver. It's sitting in between, and I think my problem as well is, do I think it's superior in its communication? Do I think it's creative in its creation? And it's certainly both of those elements. It has flaws, but my eye definitely goes to her eyes, and I think that's what we're supposed to do, and that's what they've achieved. They've made us look into the power of those eyes, and that's where the essence of the image lies. There are problems around that, but let's face it, it's a silver with distinction, not a gold.
Wonderful. Okay, judges, can I get you to rescore? Mike, if you can enter the same score. Oh, I think, Russell, I think you better just check what you put in there. Not quite.
Not quite.
Okay, and well done. Great conversation. We have a silver distinction at 86. That's awesome. Well done. Congratulations to the photographer. Okay, right. Next image, please. And who about Catherine? And we have a score of 81, a silver award. Well done. Russell's going to challenge.
Yeah, I am. The lighting's fantastic. They've split it just perfectly on your face. It's just gone right down the middle of everything it should go down. The hand is wonderful. It just takes us down there, and the texture of the material takes us down to that sort of graphic, emotional hand. I just think it's a simple but very powerful image, and it's been well handled in the lighting, and just that little tattoo. They've introduced that part of their personality to us. Just how they've presented her body, a little bit gaunt. I mean, there's something going on here with this chick that's just, I think, you know, anyone who knows her would think this image is very well representative of her. And I just love the gentility of the hair around her. Everything about it's quite beautiful. I think it deserves more than just a little creep in silver, to be honest. I'd like to hear what anyone else thinks.
And we are going to go to Robin.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting character, and I'm loving the pose, and with her hand there's a real tension going on there. Also the hint of the tattoo tells a story. Huge issues with banding, so have a look, just zoom in on the image, have a look around her shoulder, on the left hand side of the image, and then around to the right as well. The whole background is basically massive blobs of banding, which suggests the file's probably been pushed way too far. To me, that sort of leaves it in the professional practice range, and I struggle to get it above that. But totally agree with you in terms of character and interpretation of subject matter, without a doubt. But in terms of professional practice, that level of banding, yeah, for me, unfortunately, falls it out of the award range.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And anyone else want to comment? Karen, just... Yeah, quick comment.
Yeah, just on that, something that might help the photographer with the banding is that perhaps if they've worked in 8-bit as opposed to 16-bit, it can, when you push it, create more banding. So that could be something to look at on the file.
Okay, right. We're going to go back to Russell for a right of reply.
I'm just technically help me out here. So, like, I'm not seeing any of that on my screen. So, what do I do to see all that stuff? I'm on a
zoom in. Yeah,
I'm on a slightly smaller
see
screen.
big blocks of colour. So what banding technically is when...
Well, I know what banding is, but I can't see it.
Yeah, so have a look in there. You can see massive plods. I'm not sure how else to explain it.
I might change my computer tomorrow. And yeah, I had an iMac fall over just before this started, so I'm looking on a laptop. But okay, I can't see it, so I have to believe you.
You can definitely see it on the A-Zone monitors.
Oh well, I think it's a very strong image, and I congratulate the author, and you've done really well.
Awesome. Thank you. Can I get you to rescore, guys, please? Russell, if you hold your score where it is. Yep. Yep. Catherine, just one more. And we have an 80 silver award. Congratulations to the photographer. Okay, so what we're going to do now is next image, please. And this image is scored 72, reasonably consistent scoring there from all the judges. And we're going to go to a comment from, maybe Robin, are you able to comment on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Loving the monochrome palette and loving the use of tonal ranges throughout that as well. The conversion elements are absolutely beautiful. perhaps in future consider when you come to your balance, perhaps weighing it more towards the bottom half of the image as opposed to the top half. Look at your rule of thirds and try and work within that. But otherwise, well seen and a lovely perspective.
Wonderful, thank you for that. And next image, please. And that's the end of the category. Well done, everyone. Wow, what an awesome effort. You guys have done amazing, and I think the students that have entered have got some absolutely amazing feedback on the entries, and hopefully some fantastic celebrating to do with the scores that they received. We do want to thank Memento for sponsoring the category. Really appreciate their continued support. So again, go out, go and have a look on the Memento website. Go and see what they do, what they can offer. They have some amazing products there. So really want you to go and support them as they support us through the IRIS Awards. I want to give a big thank you to all of the judges. Andy, you're in there as well, sitting in the background there, for taking the time out and doing this, and the incredible feedback that you've provided for all the entrants. I also want to do a huge huge shout out to the Honours Council. They're sitting there across New Zealand. Harry, we know you really wanted to be down with us here in Rotorua, but unfortunately the level 3 lockdown occurred just a couple of days ahead of it and meant that he couldn't make it down. And he's been just such an amazing, I don't want to cry, amazing support throughout this. It really means a lot.
Yeah, you guys have done an amazing job, honestly, and to bring all this together. I mean, it's just been so much fun. I was really worried, but you guys have really pulled a rabbit out of a hat here, guys. I mean, this is giving all these photographers another platform to present again in these troubled times. And I just take my hat off to you, what you've done. On behalf of all of us, I think you've done an amazing job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Russell. Yeah. Thank you.
Great stuff, guys.
So that brings us to the end of the student category. Mike, it might be good to maybe play the Memento video again, and just maybe one more round of all of the student entries that we received this year. And yeah, that's it. And we'll be back here at 6:30. If I got that right, 6:30 tonight for the nature category. So I look forward to seeing you tuning in then. Signing out.
Thanks, Kay, well done.
You're welcome. Thank you guys, everything. It's been amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Just Russell, I just want to